Hello everybody, Dokkan Assets here. Today we are back with another Dragon Ball figure news video. Ladies and gentlemen, we have lots of fun stuff for you guys in store today. We have some news about the upcoming February prize figures. We have some info on the Dokkan Battle 8th anniversary figures. We have some potential, maybe Gohan Beast, possibly. I know we basically, every video that we've taken a look at recently, we've had these opportunities where it could be him. There are more of those in this video, so definitely stick around for that. But of course, we have a lot to cover today. It's actually not too hefty as it seems. A lot of these, as per usual, are just one and done click-throughs. But of course, if you do enjoy the video, don't forget to like and subscribe as it helps support the channel. Obviously, your boy's trying to hit 1K. That would be awesome. Get some monetization going on this channel. That would be fantastic. But for our usual, we're going to be taking a look at Dragon Ball Figures.com, DBZFigures.com, of course, and Baggy Saiyans Twitter account. I have tried to order these a little bit better this time, so they're not as much out of order, and they're kind of sectioned off with the different things that we have. Ooh, spicy, I know. Don't worry about that quite yet, because before we get to that, I did want to let you know that I believe, actually, funny enough, the pre-orders will be closed for this by the time this video is uploaded. But October 2nd, today is the final day that you can pre-order the SH Figuarts Gamma 2 and, of course, Gamma 1. I just don't have them on the screen because, you know, it's literally the same information on the screen here. You know, same time for both of them. Keep in mind, these are the figures where you get the alternate parts for Gohan. For Gamma 2, you get the cape and the glasses for Gohan, and then for Gamma 1, you get the Super Saiyan head. So yeah, these guys are going to be ending their pre-order. They have been up for a little bit. As you can see, they opened in June, which is honestly a pretty good time to be able to pre-order these. Like, the window is pretty big, I would say. So definitely not too bad in that regard. But it's going to be interesting to see when these guys come out, how much they end up reselling for, and if people actually resell these parts secondhand on eBay and stuff, because obviously when that happens, right, I'm sure some of you are probably going to go that route, because obviously paying for Gamma 1 and 2 if you just want the Gohan parts is kind of stinky, but I did want them as figures. Alright, moving past that though, this was just my tab looking for the news here. Starting us off on DBZFigures.com. The only thing that we had from the Dragon Ball Weekly news from the 19th, funny enough, there was nothing from the one that came after this in our 2-week time period, as we always do this series every other week. The only new thing for figures here was that Dragon Stars is re-releasing Beerus, and 4th Form Frieza has already been released twice, along with Super Saiyan 2 Gohan and the power-up effects. They're also releasing a new series, Dragon Ball Flash, with figures on black coin pedestals. I'm not sure if these are static articulating, not much info on these, and we'll actually get to see that later in the video. But yeah, so if you are into Dragon Stars, re-releasing Beerus and 4th Form Frieza, that is pretty cool. Maybe those are hard to get. I don't know. I don't follow Dragon Stars in terms of the rarity of figures as much, so I couldn't tell you on that one. But funny enough, you can learn more about Dragon Stars, because on the official Dragon Ball website, they now have a Dragon Stars figure database, which is very interesting that they are doing this for Dragon Stars specifically, when you would think they would want to do this for the figures that people care more about. I don't know, maybe Dragon Stars really is that big and I just underestimate it. But regardless, yeah, this is pretty interesting. You literally just click on it, and then you can click on the different figure, get some info about it, get the different pictures about the figure, get the box of the figure, some product information, stuff like that. Very, very interesting stuff that they got going on here on the Dragon Ball official website. I assume with the way that this is going to work, right? Oh my gosh, look at that big, look at that big hair. This is just an article about Dragon Stars here. Those are some pretty cool pictures though. But I assume the way that this is going to work is that you will be able to click on a product, right? Or that you'll be able to click on a bunch of different series, I guess I should say here. That's what I meant to say with this section, because obviously this looks super empty at the moment. So, of course, having this be like Banpresto, Ichiban Kuji, you know, maybe SH Figuarts in there, that would be really cool. But for the moment, it is just Dragon Star. So let's take a look at that Beerus, right, that was actually in the image. And then there you go, you can see the different pictures for it. and so on and so forth. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of cool, right? It's nothing too crazy. Again, it has the availability period. It tells you a little bit about the Dragon Stars line, right? It's nothing too insane in the membrane, but I suppose it is cool to be able to get some release dates. And if you are looking for these pictures and you really can't find them anywhere, right, it's nice to have an official database. Again, I assume that this is going to be updated in the future with different figures from different Dragon Ball lines, so that will actually be really cool to see how this develops. We'll have to see as we go forward on that. Moving on, they did actually have a Dragon Stars giveaway, which, funny enough, this has come and went in the time that I, have. Yeah, obviously every 2 weeks we take a look at this series. In between that time, this has came and went, which was pretty cool because you could win a bunch of different Dragon Stars figures, which is pretty nice. Again, these two re-released. So I guess in honor of that, and also in honor of the database, they actually decided to do that. Interesting, they have a thing where you can look at them in a 360 on the website. It looks like it doesn't work here because I'm assuming it's because the website is embedded into, dbzfigures.com. It doesn't work, but that's pretty cool if you would like to check that out. But yeah, moving past that, we did have the Super Saiyan 2 Gohan Dragon Stars Power-Up Pack. As mentioned in the previous week of the news, the next Dragon Stars is releasing an all-new Super Saiyan 2 Gohan figure as part of their Power-Up Pack. This line includes key effects that aren't available in the regular Dragon Stars line. Several figures have already been released as part of the set, including Goku, Vegeta, Goku Black, Merged Zamasu, and Super Trunks. So far, only Amazon is a pre-order for about $25 with a October 26th release date. You can check out the images below. Very cool. I will not click on the Amazon link because I will literally dox my location if I click on that, so I'm not going to do it, but the Amazon link is there. Obviously, I always leave links to dbzfigures.com in the description below, so you can click on it and go scroll to the article. But yeah, we talked about this figure a little bit last time, I believe. I really like the effects. I don't think that the figure is too crazy. Obviously, it is a Dragon Stars figures, and the faces on them are kind of always a little bit shaky, right? They're more like action figures rather than high-quality collectibles, I guess you would say, in terms of, like them trying to be exactly like the anime. So, obviously, it's a lot more passable. I mean, as a kid, I would be like, hey, yo, this is sick. You know what I mean? To be fair, though, $25 for that effect accessory piece also isn't too bad either. You could definitely use that for another figure if you really wanted to as well. Pretty cool. So here, by the way, is the Dragon Ball Flash series. We have seen a little bit about this throughout some previous figure news videos, and we have also talked about this actually in this video a little bit before. Dragon Stars released a new line this week that they called the Flash series. Yes, this is technically, I think, a Dragon Stars thing, or maybe made by the same group. They look to be only articulated at the arms and comes with a stand for each character with their face on it. Each figure is only $6.99 and a 3-pack going for $20. This first set includes Super Saiyan Goku, Vegeta, 4th Form Frieza, Gohan, and Super Broly. That would be full power Broly, actually. I was waiting to see if there were pre-orders first, but so far nobody has announced it, so he'll update it if it happens. Yeah, very interesting. So as you can see here, right, standing at 4 inches or 10 centimeters tall, they come with a special coin that serves as the foot base, right? You can see here, it's kind of hard to tell. Can we zoom in on this image? Yeah, you can see here that all of their faces are on the base here, which is actually really, really cool, I gotta say. This is definitely a very nice little desk figure. I think that would be its perfect purpose. And honestly, for $6.99, that is a perfect price for a figure that is that big, I think, especially with a base that nice. Very, very good on the pricing, which is crazy because, Dragon Ball merch has kind of been a lot of expensive shenanigans going on these days. But the underside of each coin is engraved. Okay, so that's what's interesting too. That's the bottom. That seems a little silly to me. I don't know why. The other thing is, that seems a little bit interesting about this is the Dragon Ball Flash logo is on the top with the peg, and you would think that you would want the face there, because I don't care about the logo, the name of the line, right? I care about the figure, the character. So, I don't know. And then I'm assuming with the peg, you wouldn't be able to flip it over and use that side as the base. So, that is a little bit weird if I do say so myself. Top side of the coins is embroidered with the Dragon Ball Flash Series logo and houses the star-shaped rod that used. Oh yeah, so that is what's used to keep the figures in place. So why would you not have that on the top? I don't care about the logo of the figure line. Huh? For collectors out there want to keep the figures unboxed, the packaging also features striking artwork of characters that's perfect for simply putting on display. Yeah, that is pretty cool. I will say it definitely reminds me a lot of like some older action figures, like almost like those classic Star Wars figures I'm sure everybody has seen. Those are pretty cool. Okay, so I see it's Goku, Vegeta, and Frieza that come in the 3-piece set. So these honestly aren't too bad. Again, I think for that price, being a, what did they say, 4-inch figure, right? I definitely think that that's not too bad. Obviously, that is pretty small. I mean, that's probably around the size of a WCF figure. And that's a lot cheaper than a WCF figure. Those bad boys can go anywhere from like $13 to like 20 depending on the figure, probably more honestly, depending on the shenanigans going on with it. So definitely not too bad. I would be interested to see some close-ups of these, like if anyone has actually unboxed these. Maybe I'll have to take a look at some YouTube videos to see, but they aren't articulated, and again, I think these are definitely more just like some perfect little desk figures since they are very small. Very good stuff, though. I'm glad to see that this line isn't too bad. I was a little bit worried that they were going to overprice this, right? But I think that that price point is right on the money for those type of figures. Now, moving on. This was a very interesting development that we had this week. Let me take a quick drink of water while you look at the funny man. Stay hydrated, folks. The official site just posted some new pictures and close-ups of the current pre-order SH Figuarts figure second form Frieza. It includes Frieza in different poses and also stomping on Kid Gohan battle armor, as well as Krillin battle armor. Unfortunately, there's no English version yet, but I'll update if they end up translating this. You've also got to see the different poses and facial expressions. What's most interesting is the last image in the review showing an outline of the last possible figure in the Namek series. Could it possibly be? Find out with the next Premium Bandai release. Second form Frieza pre-orders. So yeah, so these are now available. They started on September 1st here. And as you can see, they are going to October 10th. That seems like a really small delivery window. But we have taken a look at this figure when we originally saw this first kind of release, right? These are the very super high quality production images, right? This isn't the first time we're seeing this figure. We've talked about this guy before. However, what's interesting about this figure is this final image here, right? This is on the official page for Frieza. And of course, what this sort of implies is that they are going to make a third form Frieza figure. Because if you guys remember, I think it was the last figure news video, we talked about how there is one figure left in the Namek line, and people were kind of speculating what it was going to be, if they were going to make a third form Frieza, and this basically all but confirms, considering it is from the official source, that it is going to be a third form Frieza, which is really cool. It kind of looks like, to me, what they did here is they have a prototype, and they literally just blacked out the prototype because you can see the shadow of the tail and the figure here under the silhouette. So that is pretty cool if I do say so myself. I was really curious if they were going to make this because obviously this is going to be a very interesting figure to see how it turns out. He's a very grotesque form. Obviously, he's based on the Xenomorph, right? So he's definitely a little bit weird looking. Obviously, the size is very interesting as well. So I don't know. We'll have to see when that figure eventually gets revealed in a more proper manner that isn't just a silhouette. Also, you can kind of see the reflection of the camera in the front of Frieza's ship there, which is kind of funny. Anyway, more Frieza shenanigans going on here. Premium Bandai just released the high-grade Frieza complete set in Japan. In this series, they include all the forms of one character that they have done so far with Cell and Boo, but now it's Frieza's turn. Yeah, I do kind of agree with my man here, though. Maybe this is a little bit premature, considering what just happened in the manga, and now we have Black Frieza. So it's kind of weird that they decided to do this one now. Maybe it was already planned out, and they were like, guys, why did you release a new Frieza? We had this planned out for a while. I don't know. But there are 8 figures in this set, including all of his forms, and Mecha Frieza as well. They will eventually need to add Black Frieza to this as well, or release an all-new set. This will cost about 15,000 yen, or about 110 bucks, using the current currency exchange rates, and will release in February 2023. Big Bad Toy Store does have pre-orders, and you can pre-order this bad boy for about 200 bones for all of these figures. And we do have some high-quality images here of all these figures. Now, keep in mind, these are the high-grade line. And wait, is this a different figure? Is this just... Oh, yeah, okay. That is a completely different figure. Interesting that they consider Scouter Frieza and non-Scouter Frieza a different form. Maybe that was just an excuse to make it more expensive. I don't know. I feel like that could have just been an accessory. But yeah, we have second form Frieza here. We have third form Frieza here. It's interesting you can see the mold on the inside because of the clear plastic. You have fourth form Frieza here, or final form Frieza, and then of course you have full power Frieza, Mecha Frieza, and then of course Golden Frieza. Now, these figures have kind of notoriously lately been not that great, unfortunately. I really wish that they were, because obviously the high grade line used to sort of fit the name of the high grade line, but in recent time the paint job has been really shoddy. The sculpts haven't been that great on the final images and the final versions of the figures. So we'll have to see how these guys turn out. We recently got the Boo. You probably remember us talking about that a couple of videos ago. So it'll be interesting to see how Frieza fares in the quality department. But yeah, very cool that they are releasing a full set of him. Again, still weird that they decided to drop Black Frieza and then do that at the same time. I don't know, kind of weird. But anyway, moving on from DBZ figures mostly, we have our first tweet from Baggy here that's not just more high-quality production images of stuff related to what we were looking at. A confirmation that the Solid Edgeworks Trunks will have a foot base. Obviously, we have not seen one attached to him up until this point, so at least he'll have one. Excuse me. Oh my gosh. I don't know if it's going to be over-encumbering or it'll make the figure stand worse. I would kind of hope not, because it kind of looks like he stands on his own, but to be fair, I think we did take a look at before, right? It kind of looks like that they taped down his feet, right? Because you can see a little bit of, like, raisedness there, but maybe not this time, because usually you can see it, and you kind of can't tell with this one, unless they just got better about it. I don't know. It looks like he can basically stand by himself. I mean, even if they have him taped down, I still think that he could probably balance fairly well. This looks like a figure that's not going to be crazy hard to balance up, where some figures with their ridiculous poses, right? That's kind of the thing you have to do. So it'll be interesting to see the foot base for my man. We just wanted, me, I guess, and Baggy, just wanted to give you a little quick PSA. We'll find out in less than a month if the March BOS figure will be Gohan Beast or not. Probably best to expect it not, so there won't be any disappointment. Yeah, we'll have to see. We have not gotten any other news but as to what that BOS figure is going to actually be, besides basically just, we're gonna find out what it's gonna be. So keep your eyes peeled. I am sure if we actually do get it, Baggy will probably go nuts, and I'll probably make a video talking about just the figure, because it's that big of a deal, because we've been getting weirdly shafted on this new form of Gohan, and Gogeta literally had an entire Ichiban kuji and multiple prize figures on the release day of Gogeta's movie. So, I don't know. But anyway, moving on from that there, this is a little bit of a shame to see. So I'm sure most of you probably remember us talking about and taking a look at the Clear Rise Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. Obviously, we talked about this guy in a couple of videos now, and we were talking about how he's probably a decent option for you to pick for a Super Saiyan 2 Gohan figure. Maybe not the best one in your arsenal, but definitely not a bad choice. And it's kind of unfortunate, right? You can see that this is a Japanese review that was translated into English here. And apparently the figure is kind of bad from the review here. The skin color of the ankle is painted, but the skin, other than the face, arms, and torn pants, is clear material. Oh, here. Interesting. So that's not actually clear. Very interesting. Her hair, I think that's a Google Translate error, is pearl painted and beautiful, but the bangs don't match the parts of the face, so the bang sticks out. Interesting. So I guess the paint job with the bang is not the same. Also, Gohan's left ankle is a different length from his right ankle. You can see the width of the ankle skin is visibly different. Interesting. It's hard to tell there, but I would assume in person. I mean, that one definitely does look a little bit smaller than that one, but I think probably, obviously, this person had the figure in person. Therefore, the body is slightly tilted, needs a little adjustment. Mine. There are many individual differences, but my head is also slightly tilted to the left. The protrusion of the adhesive, etc. is also conspicuous. It was a waste, even though it is a Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. That's unfortunate. Yeah, so, judging by this review, obviously, one review does not define a product, but that is definitely not a good sign for this figure. If anybody has picked this guy up, definitely let me know. I think at the moment we can only import him. I don't think he's released properly here in the West yet. This is something I figured I'd throw in here. If you're interested in this figure, I almost bought this guy a while ago, but I don't think I did. This is a good price for him, though, on Amazon US. He is currently $16.99, which is a great price for this figure if you are interested in the FES 16 GT Super Saiyan Goku. Moving on from that, oh boy. Okay, so we're getting into some shenanigans, ladies and gentlemen. We have some multi-angles for the Ichiban Kuji set that I made a video about, talking about the ridiculousness with the reusing of this Gohan, right? Now, I'll talk about something a little bit more in detail once we get to it, but here is the multi-angles for a couple of the figures here. This looks so strange. I understand it's because of the hairstyle and it's not really the figure. But man, Gohan's hair looks so weird from that angle. Here is Mecha Frieza. And we are going to have a higher quality look at these two in a moment here with the multi-angles. So very interesting that Gohan, his face, I will say, from this angle doesn't really look that great. Like, these two look fine, but here it looks a little bit weird. Nice to see that they did still do a pretty good job with this funky haircut that he has in this era of the anime. And, of course, that point in the story. And, of course, this figure looks good from pretty much all angles. So here are the high-quality production images for this guy. Very, very interesting. He looks pretty good, if I do say so myself. If they keep the quality up for this figure, this might not be a bad choice for a staple King Cold figure in a collection. Interestingly enough, his toe looks a little bit bent there. I'm not sure if that's in the production image on purpose or if that's just like a defect of the figure, but interesting that that is present there. But yeah, he definitely doesn't look too bad. Overall, I really like the look of this. However, one thing that is kind of interesting about this guy is that this is a person who comments a lot on Baggy's tweets, and I've seen this guy around before. I've been hearing he might be shorter than Android 16. That will be really unfortunate. I'm sure you guys remember we took a look at that Android Ichiban Kuji, right? That had the 16, 17, and 18. And apparently he might be shorter than that. So that'll be interesting to see. I really hope not, because obviously King Cold is a big dude, right? So I'm really hoping that this figure actually is a pretty decent size. We'll have to see. I really like the tail coming out of the cloak too. I think that looks fantastic. And then, of course, we have your boy Mecha Frieza. Also a pretty good looking figure. I will say, though, even though this figure looks good, he looks small in the production images. Like, I don't know what it is about the way that they took these photos, but he just looks like a small figure. Like, I would hope that he's basically about the size of a prize figure, but he looks kind of tiny. Like, for some reason, I feel like this figure is going to be the size of the, like, Saiyan Saga Kuji Gohan or something like that, which I really hope not, but yeah, that's Mecha Frieza for you. The mechanical detail on him is fantastic. I really, really like the meshing of the mechanics and the, you know, natural body that's still left of Frieza. I think they definitely did a good job of capturing that. And obviously the very bootleggy job that they did of putting him back together so he could come back to Earth and mess up the Z-Fighters real quick. Here, of course, is Gohan. 2 per lot, so he'll be the cheapest to import, which is pretty cool. Yeah, the hair looks a little bit spread out there, and his face from this angle looks very funny. Interesting. Very interesting indeed. I don't think it looks too bad. I will say it is a little bit interesting. Did I see gapping on the back there? Yeah, unless the person didn't just press in the figure all the way, which is definitely a possibility. That is a little bit of gapping on the back. Where he connects from the top of the armor to his pants. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we're on to the stinky part of this section of the video. The prices. I was so close. I almost made a video talking about the prices because I made 2 videos talking about this Ichiban Kuji, how ridiculous it was that Gohan got reused 3 times, and why figure reusing is such a bad thing. And now I should have made a 3rd follow-up video, honestly, and maybe I still will, or maybe I'll make a more detailed video in the future about the, history of Ichiban Kuji prices rising, right? Or figure prices rising in general, because I think that could be an interesting video to take a look at, a big comprehensive history of it. But I didn't do it in its own video. I might even still do it outside of that, comprehensive history video. I thought about doing it. I might still do it. I don't know. Maybe it's a little bit too late. But here are the prices for the Ichiban show here in the States. Base Gohan, $75. Piccolo, $70. Goku, $75. Kid Gohan, $55. King Cold, $96. Frieza, $65. I want to put this in perspective for you a little bit, right? Normally, up until this point, where these prices have just gone insane in the membrane, right? Where they've been these standard prices for a long time, and then they went up a little bit, and now with every new Ichiban Kuji that has been released, they've just jacked them up more and more and more. I talked about that in my figure reusing video, if you do want to go check that video out. But Gohan being $75, considering that the original version of this guy was, I don't think it would be half, but kind of close. And regardless, would have been normally a $36 figure, because that's what Ichiban Kuji figures have been for a while, is insane to me. The Gohan here is going to be around the size, probably a little bit bigger than the Cybermen and the Cell Jr., but those figures were $35 for the Cybermen, and then they realized that that was too much, and they made it $25, $55. There has never been an Ichiban Kuji figure, by the way, with retail prices that has been $96. The only reason why that's even remotely a good thing in this case, I suppose, is that gives you a little bit of hope that maybe he's going to be a little bit of a bigger figure because he's more expensive. But the thing I want to drive home to you is, the Ichiban Kuji Masterlize Extra Final Form Cooler, right? I brought that guy out in the last unboxing video that I did last week. With the metal cooler and the regular cooler from the Ichiban Kuji, right? That man was $50 because Masterlize Extra figures were around the $45, $50 mark up until this point, right? And that's a figure that is significantly bigger than a normal Ichiban Kuji figure, right? That is a figure that is supposed to be extra, right? It's big, right? Even the King Cluster Broly, right? That is a giant figure. And I've taken a look at so many of those throughout my unboxing career here on YouTube. Those are $50. You're telling me that Gohan, that will not even come close to his height, is $75? You're telling me Super Saiyan Gohan will be more expensive than King Cluster Broly? Nah. That's insane to me, dude. Absolutely insane. Yeah. Super crazy, honestly. Obviously, this is the reuse if you're curious and you haven't seen that video in the past. Literally, the price for this figure just went up and up until they reached this one with this pinnacle of stupidity. And if you want to buy them, please don't buy them. You can do so on Big Bad Toy Store. Big Bad Toy Store has all these figures available for you to pre-order. What's crazy about this, right, is it will literally cost you less to import this figure from Japan. I'm talking going on to a Japanese auction site or just a site that sells, items, right? That's like a Japanese site. Going through a middleman, paying the middleman fees, paying for the shipping, all of that will be less expensive than just buying this figure as an Ichiban show figure. Absolutely insane. I cannot believe that this is what they decided to do for the prices. Ridiculous to me. Anyway, moving past that very unfortunate news. Oh, psych, I lied. Here's another great comparison. If you guys remember, this is one of Dragon Ball's most, I guess I would say probably Dragon Ball Super specifically, one of their best Ichiban Kujis that they've ever had. These figures are absolutely fantastic. I have the base Gogeta from this Ichiban Kuji as well as the MUI Goku from this Ichiban Kuji. And I don't think I've ever considered getting a duplicate color of a figure from an Ichiban Kuji. There's literally been one time I've done that for a prize figure, I think. But I would love to get the Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta version of this guy because this Ichiban Kuji is so good. Now, here's what's so crazy about this. These are the biggest Kuji figures basically ever, right? These are up there with the big boys, right? Funny enough, I think I even compared my MUI Goku to Cooler in the video that I did about Goku, right? When I bought that figure, because I found him at a convention for a decent price. When these released, these were $45. Okay? 45 bucks. And keep this in mind here, right? 30 centimeters is the prize size, is what I was going to say. I guess that still fits. 30 centimeters is how big this figure is, right? 45 buckaroonies for you. 50 bucks for this Gohan. I believe Baggy even said 55 here, right? Let's see, what does it say on big? Oh, okay, so yeah, so it's 50, right? 50 there, right? Let's make sure with these prices, right? 75, 70, 75, 50, 65, 95. That's insane, dude. That's almost getting to like Plex level of figures, which is like those Hype Beast type of figures. But Gohan being 50 bucks compared to these being 45, absolutely insane, dude. It is literally the most insane thing that I've seen from Bandai in a long time. Like, the reusing is one thing, but to jack up the price this much it's just disgusting. I don't know if they just think that people don't know what they're talking about, or if they think that people don't realize or something like that. I have no idea. But this is where we're at, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, now, this is some good news for Gohan, right? Base Gohan, I'm expecting him to be much, much, much cheaper to import despite being at one ratio, yeah, per lot. And reused figures don't tend to hold much market value like Goku and Vegeta from the Superhero Kuji, for example. So yeah, hopefully this guy is pretty cheap to import. I am definitely going to be trying to import this figure for sure. This guy is at the top of my list for that Ichiban Kuji for sure. I really, really like this form of Gohan a lot. So that is what I'm going to be looking to do for all these figures. Truthfully here, the only figures that I really want from this Ichiban Kuji are the Gohan and probably Mecha Frieza and King Cold. I would get the Goku, but I still feel like he looks a little bit too janky for me personally. And we also have the prize figure version of Goku and Gohan in the Saiyan armor that I much prefer those figures anyway. So these three will probably be, funny enough, it makes an L, that's ironic, will be the ones that I'm really interested in importing the most. So we'll see about that. And this is also pretty interesting too, right? I was talking about how they've raised the price of just since the last Ichiban Kuji to this new one. $65 is the MSRP for this Piccolo, which, I mean, I would personally say I think I like better in terms of the pose, right? And $70 for this one, right? Which is the new one. All they did was change one of the arms and the eyes and made the pants a little bit different. And they reused the same base mold. And they jacked it up $5, right? So strange to me. I don't know. This is basically the same figure, right? Like, I don't think this difference is worth a $5 change in my opinion, right? But according to Bandai, they think it is. I don't know. Very interesting. Not going to acknowledge the elephant in the room on the way that Baggy describes this in this tweet. However, I did want to include this tweet because in the West, this Goku figure came with Vegeta. This was the Ichiban Kuji version of the Galakamehameha. And this figure came with this disgusting white stain here, right? This is not something that is like a lighting mishap with how this picture was taken. That is on the figure, right? And keep in mind, this guy came in the $60 set, right? Nobody should be paying this much for figures if the quality is not going to be that good, and it's definitely not worth what you're paying, right? For 60 buckaroonies, this guy should be perfecto, right? I could buy a video game 100-hour experience for $60. I know that's kind of a poor comparison because you could just say, oh, you could buy $60 at McDonald's or something like that. But you get my point, right? The figures should not be this expensive for this amount of quality, right? And keep in mind, this was for a duo set that this was $60. That's another fair point, right? People talked about, too, the Vegeta that they have, that the ear was a little bit weird on theirs, which is kind of interesting, the figure that this guy came with. But yeah, that's another thing even on top of this, right? 60 bucks for Goku and Vegeta, and obviously that one kind of speaks for itself, right? All right, so I think we're finally moving past this. Oh yeah, this was also something that I wanted to mention. I guess this is kind of relevant to what we were just talking about before, but this was something interesting that I didn't notice. So, this is kind of strange, and I don't know if this is intentional, but knowing Bandai and obviously the scummy business practices that we are aware that they do, and not to mention the fact that they have just done everything that we just spent the last, couple minutes talking about, it wouldn't surprise me if this is intentional, but it is a little bit strange that they release all of these characters as Ichiban Kuji figures, obviously more expensive. Keep in mind, these ones were back when Ichiban Kujis were more affordable, right? King Piccolo was $45 because he was a little bit bigger. Vegeta and Kid Buu were both like the 36 buck figures. And then they decided to release them all as prize figures later after you've already bought the Ichiban Kuji version, and now you're inclined to buy the prize figure version if you want it, and it's a cheaper version of the figure. I don't know if that's intentional. Maybe. I would maybe have to see more examples of this. If they decide to release some prize figures of some characters that we've gotten in Kujis recently, then maybe I'll give this one a little bit more. But I do think this is something interesting to note, just to keep in the back of your head, a little bit of food for thought for you. Definitely quite interesting. Yeah, so this is a very strange occurrence here, right? So we did get the announcement of this figure set here, right? This is the Wafer sticker figures, right? We're going to take a look at this picture because the figures are in a little bit better quality here. I mean, the quality's not much better on either one of these images, I'm going to be honest with you. But obviously here we have the superhero set of why Super Saiyan Goku and Gohan and Frieza are here, right? This Gohan, obviously Kid Gohan, I'm not really sure. I mean, I don't really mind these two figures inclusion as much as like Super Saiyan Goku Y. But obviously these are the minifigures that are based off of the superhero Wafer stickers, right? And of course, these are all stickers that we've had before. And the strange thing is, right, not only did they make Goku gold, which is kind of weird, like you would think they would want to do like maybe the Gohan, I don't know. But these figures look fine, right? These definitely look pretty good. Obviously, this style isn't for everybody, right? Not everybody enjoys this sort of super chibified style. I definitely like these. I own one of these figures. I own a Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta of this because the place I buy my VJump magazines has them for sale quite often, actually. They just get them imported. They are a little bit expensive there because obviously they're imported and then they have to resell them. So I've only bought one, and I mean, I like the figure. It is definitely very, very small for the price that they had them. But these are very nice little minifigures, and usually the quality on these is actually okay. Again, they are definitely not like meant to be exactly the way that the characters look in the show, because of course, you know, they're chibified. But what's so interesting about this is that here is this set, right? And it's so strange to me that in this set, Gohan, Beast, and Orange Piccolo are in here, right? You can see with these guys, right? This is supposed to be the Piccolo and Gohan right here from the movie poster, right? That's what set these two are from. And Gohan, Beast, and Orange Piccolo are in this set. It is so weird to me. Like, I'm almost kind of agreeing with Baggy on this weird conspiracy that, like, they've been forbidden to make figures of these two for some uncommonly reason. Kami reason. That's a hard one to say with swinging Kami in there instead of some ungodly reason. But anyway, Why? I don't understand it. Obviously, we have been tickled with the possibility of a Gohan Beast figure for so long now. And this didn't deliver. We maybe have a chance coming up here. Again, like I said, we still have to talk about that. But it's so strange to me that these guys are just not getting figures and they're in the same set. That's what's so strange to me, right? These guys are from the same thing as stickers that have them in it. So I don't know. Very strange. Just thought that I would throw this in the video, besides obviously including the minifigures there, because those are figures too. Okay, so we actually do have some news about the prize figures that we got to see a couple of figure news videos ago now. I think maybe one or two. October prize figures have been slightly delayed, but should still release in Japan before the middle of the month. That is very, very good. Kind of unfortunate that they got delayed, but it is what it is. We actually have a lot of images of these guys here. So we have them on display here at this booth that we have seen them taking pictures here of various different figures many a times now with this funny new little stand there. We have Gohan and we have Trunks here on display. Trunks' hair still looks very weird to me. I'm definitely not the biggest fan of this figure, which is kind of a shame because I would like to get every single one of the Saiyans in the Saiyan armor. And granted, I do have Super Trunks in the armor from the Ichiban Kuji, which is cool, and that is a good figure, but like obviously this hair is a little bit different. And we have Gohan. I will say his face does look a little bit weird here, but I kind of think that that might be the lighting a little bit. His mouth also looks a little bit like wide, and his cheeks are a little bit chubby. I don't know, kind of interesting that he sort of looks like that. I will say in this light, the gold also looks a lot more mustardy, but I think again that's that the lighting is kind of dark where these pictures are taken. We have Rose. Yeah, I can't imagine that that is how the hair is going to look on the final one, being that dark. Again, I think that may just be where these images are taken. But yeah, here's the final versions of Goku Black and Rose. I will say Goku's face, or I guess Goku Black's face in this case, is kind of it's a little I think Rose's face may be a little bit better. It's kind of weird because it almost looks like they're both pushed to the side, right? I guess that would be what, the right side, so it would be Goku Black's left side. It kind of looks like the faces are sort of pushed a little bit. Also, I do have to say, oh my, ew. What is that Potara earring, bro? My man literally has like cookie dough hanging down an M&M off of his ear. That is so disgusting to look at. I don't think that it's like the worst funny enough of a Potara that I've ever seen, but that's still pretty bad, if I do say so myself. These guys don't look too terrible. I think the Rose looks pretty good. It's weird that their faces almost look better from far away. They kind of do, honestly. I might still get the Goku Black just to get a display someday of him having his arms over like the city burning, because obviously that's like one of the opening shots of the Goku Black arc. Because then obviously I don't have to look at his face. So that'll work perfectly. But these two aren't too bad. I think that there are probably better Goku Black figures out there if you really want to cop them. But definitely not too bad here. We do have the History Box Goku, which we do actually have some better images of this guy a little bit later in the video. So we'll save him for then. But this was something else to note. Another look at the DB finals. Gohan's head looks to be a separate piece because you can see that the person didn't push it in all the way. Nice job, guys. You can also see that here, right, the pictures look a lot better lit than they were in that very dark lit area that we saw them before. Base Black has a lean, although remains to be seen if that was because of how he was displayed, right, because that might just be the person who put them together. And unfortunately, yeah, he doesn't look like he has a lean as much. It's weird. It's just Rose and not... and not Base Black. Or, well, reverse, sorry. Base Black has a lean and Rose doesn't. Very interesting. Yeah, Kid Goku's hair, unfortunately, didn't turn out that great. There's a huge seam line through the top of it, which is kind of ugly, if I'm being honest with you. And we actually have a little bit of a final comparison here. So you can see that the figure finals from this person's pictures, right, on the left versus the prototype versions that are on the right. Now keep in mind, again, lighting a little bit stinky, but overall, I think they pretty much kept it the same. Keep in mind, angles are obviously a little bit different here, and of course the color is a little bit different, again, with the lighting. I do think I like the prototype version of Gohan a little bit more here. I don't think it looks bad necessarily. I was planning on getting the base form version of this guy anyway, so it's not too crazy big of a deal for me personally. But I don't think the figure turned out too bad, all things considered, right? You can definitely tell it was changed a little bit because it looks like the eye is lower down for this one compared to where it is here. And the eye almost seems like farther up into his socket on the final one than it does on the prototype version. With Trunks here, oh boy. The figure already didn't look that great, but this definitely looks even worse. You can see that the paint job is so much cheaper looking on the final one. And it almost looks like blobby, right? Like, do you see how these are these nice sharp edges for the Super Saiyan hair, right? And on this one, you can see it's very rounded off. You can see these ones have these weird little bends on the end. Not great for Trunks, unfortunately. And I think his face definitely looked better on the original one. There's also, looks like a little bit of QC issues in the middle of his mouth with that one. Goku's final figure basically looks the same. Again, it is a little bit of a shame that that seam line is still present there. But I actually do like this final version of the figure. It's interesting to see as well. It looks like they darkened up the logo on his shirt. So that is a little bit interesting for sure. But Goku basically remains the same for the most part. And Goku Black, basically the same too. I think the Batara earring is obviously way better on the prototype version. You can see that it actually looks a little bit more like an earring rather than this weird blob thing. And I don't know if I like his face better on one or the other. Maybe on this one, but it's kind of hard to tell because it looks like there's something wonky going on with his eyebrow there. Very interesting. Yeah, obviously there's not a version of Rosé because it was literally just a piece of cardboard behind him. But that is interesting that we have some comparisons here because usually this doesn't happen. Hasn't happened in a long time, in fact, where we've had the original prototypes and then the finals to compare to like that. So very cool. Didn't we have another one of Kid Goku? Alright, well I guess I don't know where that went. So we'll go back to Kid Goku a little bit. The only unfortunate thing about this figure, I swear I had more pictures of this guy lined up. I don't know where he went. But regardless, if we see it later, I guess I'll point it out again. But the diorama part of this does kind of look a little bit cheap, I guess, right? It sort of looks a little bit flimsy, I think, compared to the figure. I mean, it is just basically plastic. But again, overall, not too bad of a Kid Goku figure, but I think there are definitely better options for you out there. Alright. Moving on from this, though, we do have Gohan in the box for the SH Figuarts Armor Gohan. He is made in China, but the final quality doesn't look the best. The shoulder pieces do detach, so that's why there's a little bit of gapping there. But yeah, his face looks a little bit weird. Why does his head also look really small? His chin is also very chiseled. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. This face definitely looks a little bit weird. It's also interesting to me that they didn't choose to put this face on him. Because usually the face that's on the front of the box is the face that they include with the figure. So that is quite interesting if I do say so myself. It'll be interesting to see these guys out of the box for sure. Okay. So, here is a little bit of hope. And we have something a little bit more later for Gohan Beast and for Orange Piccolo. We're due March production images 2 weeks after February. And then November 9th is the prize fair that will show off April prize figures to June 2023 prize figures, subject to photo bans. Obviously, if photos or if figures get banned from photos being taken of them, then we probably won't see them. And as we saw with the last prize fair, they only invited like officials rather than the outside public, and that's why those figures that got leaked didn't get leaked this time because it was the officials who were taking the pictures and not just random bozos who are okay with leaking it on the internet. So hopefully here, right, this is another opportunity for us to end up getting these guys. I am hoping, praying that the prize fair comes through. And obviously, if we see any of them in March, right, that would also be fantastic too. The sooner the better, frankly. But, yeah, that is a piece of hope for the both of these guys. Hopefully we can see them then. In Europe, the Android Ichiban show has started releasing. Obviously, these guys are pretty overpriced. They have been subject to the new price hikes of these figures. Stores will eventually have to discount them, just get rid of the dead stock if no one's going to be buying them, so just be patient. Yeah, they definitely aren't worth the ludicrous pricing at all, for sure. Again, if you really want these, I would say just import them. I'm waiting myself to buy this set. I'm not really interested in them all anyway. I think the Android 18 doesn't look the greatest. I would still like to get maybe like the 16 and Dr. Gero and Android 20, but yeah, definitely wait a little bit on this one. Okay, so we do have upcoming prize figures here for March, which we did get to see these bad boys, and there is a little bit more, I think, technically coming for March. But we did get to see these, which of course is the Matchmakers Goku and Vegeta and the GX Materia Piccolo. They are all $26.99 on Big Bad Toy Store. Obviously, that has been the modern prize figure pricing for a little bit. It used to be 20 bucks, then they jumped it up to 25, and now it is 27. But we do have some high quality production images of all these figures. With Goku and Vegeta, let's talk about them first. So obviously they are the superhero versions of these figures, right? These are supposed to be the scene of them duking it out, and I think that they are pretty cool. Obviously they are both very, very basic figures. I don't think that they try and capture the CGI look, really. I think it was also easier to capture the Broly movie's sort of aesthetic style with figure form, right? Especially compared to like a CGI movie. But I think these guys still look pretty cool. I think Goku looks a little bit strange, if I'm being honest with you. But I think probably people won't be as interested in him as they will be Vegeta, because obviously this is, you know, this particular gi of Vegeta, and we don't get figures as much for that. I would like to get this guy eventually, but we'll see. It would be cool once we finally get some Gohan Beast figures and Orange Piccolo to have like a superhero movie setup, and you can have this be the Goku and Vegeta figure for this. Obviously, though, the big kahuna, which is kind of ironic that it's not Goku or Vegeta, I suppose, is the GX Materia Special Beam Cannon Piccolo. This figure looks absolutely fantastic. Obviously, sculpted by the one and only Varroque, or Varquo. Still don't know how to say his name. But very, very cool, if I do say so myself. I do quite like this figure a lot. I don't have enough Piccolo figures in my collection for sure, so this is pretty cool to be able to get one from the GX Material line. You all know that I'm a huge fan of this line, so obviously getting this figure from it is very, very exciting. We do have some more images of these guys here. Also, something interesting to note, we talked about the homie Joe, the new figure sculptor on the block, right? It kind of looks like that these guys are his work. Vegeta looks good, probably the only one I think people will care about. Yeah, for sure, because he also is, you know, the Boo form of the gi, right? But yeah, the work on the ears is kind of what leads us to believe that, because it sort of looks like Joe's work on the ears, right? Yeah, so I will say I did see some people saying this here, right? They are like thinking that they're reuses from the Gashapon. I don't know if anybody has posted a picture of it. It doesn't look like it, but I'm sure you remember us talking about it. I don't think that this is as much of a case of reusing. I think this is more of a case of they didn't really have that many iconic poses in the movie because they were side characters, and nonetheless, I think this was also based off of some of the promotional material for the movie. They were in these poses. So I think it's more so that, and again, with the sculpts looking a little bit different in different areas, you can tell that these aren't necessarily reuses. This is just more of a case of the figure being in the same pose, for sure. But these guys do look pretty good, honestly. I would like to see the final versions of these for sure before deciding to pick them up. Did I skip past Piccolo? Okay, well, I guess we're taking a quick break to look at the the draw caps. I meant to put Piccolo before that. Whoops. So, more looks at these guys, right? The October release of these figures. They do look pretty cool. Unfortunately, the IRL ones will probably be pretty stinky because if you guys remember the last time we got a new set of these, they looked even worse, right? And these already don't look the greatest. I mean, I kind of agree with Baggy here. I think this one is really good with Goku and Goten. Chi-Chi in the background is also very funny too. But these have also kind of always been styled in this sort of weird way, but at least they looked like this when you actually bought them. And a lot of the older ones kind of looked a little bit better. They have a very interesting style for sure with the way that they go for these figures. But apparently they're going to release on October 14th. So, by the next figure news, we may actually have a look at these guys, because that'll be on the 16th. So, it'll be interesting to see how these guys actually end up as the finals. I kind of want to get this one. Maybe I'll see if I can't cop that one on eBay. That'd be a nice little figure to pop on the desk. Anyway, back to Piccolo here. Varroque did confirm a while ago he sculpted the 3 consecutive GX materials from December to February when the calendar updated, and now we have them. So it'll be interesting to see what they do next. Yeah, definitely would like Cell or Ten Shinhan. I can agree with Baggy on that one for sure. Definitely some other characters too that they could do. But yeah, our boy has sculpted all of these figures, and I think he's been doing a very good job recently. Again, I think the Piccolo looks really, really good. Here is another angle with the correct colors of the figure. Someone posted the, isn't that the Macy's thing? Oh no, that's a statue up on the building. That's cool. I thought it was a Macy's Thanksgiving Day frame balloon. But yeah, this guy looks great. I think they definitely did a very good job with him. I like the way that the effect piece looks as well. I think my only complaint, honestly, is that I wish the effect piece was longer. Definitely wish that, like, the beam effect was just stupid crazy long. I understand they can't make it really, really long because then, you know, it'd be a little bit harder to display on your shelf. But I do kind of wish it was a little bit bigger. Nonetheless, though, still pretty cool if I do say so myself. And obviously the sculpt is going to look great because, of course, Varroque always does a good job on the sculpting. And here's the multi-angles of this guy. I will say his face from some angles does look a little bit strange. Like, I think this front one here looks a little bit weird, but this one definitely looks good, and this one also looks really, really good. So yeah, very interesting to see. I will be curious to see as well with this guy too, if the final product is actually this pink, because obviously Piccolo's arms are depicted kind of differently throughout Dragon Ball's iconography of him. So it'll be interesting to see if they really are this like hot pink color. I wouldn't really mind that for sure, because I mean, you know, he's depicted like this sometimes. But another interesting thing that some people have pointed out about this figure throughout this is it is kind of curious where this particular figure is from, because most of the time with GX Materia figures, it's like a specific moment in the anime. But obviously his arm is not yoinked off. So unless someone makes a custom where they literally like remove his arm and then maybe add some fruit punch to the figure, then maybe this could be a Saiyan Saga version. But I technically don't know where this would be from as a specific moment of him doing the special beam cannon anyway. Here's some multi-angles of Goku and Vegeta. I definitely think that Vegeta looks really, really good. Goku looks a lot better from this angle, right? Definitely a lot better from this side than this side. His neck looks a little bit funny there. But yeah, I don't know. I really like this weird Karate Kid pose that Vegeta is doing here. The wah! It looks pretty good, honestly. I think that this guy's going to turn out pretty good. I'm very excited to see how the final images of this guy. And it's cool that they have these guys displayed like this for the production images. I quite like this a lot. It'll be interesting to see how big these guys are too. Obviously, since these are matchmakers, they are probably going to be kind of small because that Kid Goku versus Demon King Piccolo was a pretty small figure set as well. Obviously not as small as like High Grade or Versus, but you know, pretty small for a prize figure. Speaking of which, here are the heights for these guys, and yeah, we have Piccolo at 15 centimeters, Goku at 14, and Vegeta at 11. So pretty small. For sure, for Goku and Vegeta. Obviously, you can see these heights, right, but it is kind of hard to envision them sometimes. I mean, you can even whip out a ruler, but of course, the physical 3D object in your hand is a lot different than just seeing the number on the screen. But this should give you a decent idea of how big these guys are going to be. Oh yeah, so now these are basically just the clean production images of these. My man was posting it for every anime under the sun this month, which was pretty cool to see. But yeah, these guys look great. I love the detailing on Piccolo's arms as well. I think they did a really good job too with the veins on him. Even his mouth looks really well sculpted, right? Even the boots, the Namekian 5s, as I like to call them, right? Or maybe these would be more like the Namekian 3s, since I think I've been calling the superhero ones the Namekian 5s. The sculpting here looks really, really good, and Veroka is one of the sculptors that really cares about his work. There are multiple things from multiple figures that he has made where you see these little details and you're like, yeah, this man cares about what he's doing, which is cool because he seems to be one of the only people, excuse me. I was going to say people in the company, and my words just went whoop. He seems to be one of the only people at Bandai who really cares about the product, so that is very cool to see. And here are the boys in HD. Definitely going to be excited to see Vegeta out of the box and in person. So this was kind of some unfortunate news. We had some Dokkan 8th anniversary, little bit of news that sort of amounted to just sadness, honestly. We have February blank production images, and there are only My Hero Quintessential quintuplets and Golden Kemoi. I'm not even sure what that is, honestly. No Dokkan 8th anniversary blanked out images. Now, if you're unfamiliar, most of the time, when it comes to the prize figure production images for figures that they don't want to show yet, it's literally just a black circle, and they don't have it displayed because it's like, oh, well, now you can put an image for the pre-order on the website, but people don't know what it is yet. And there have been no listings so far for Dokkan 8th anniversary. So, hopefully this means that we are still going to get figures of them. I am hoping and praying that we will, because obviously there is a big possibility, especially with the advent of this information, that we might not, especially considering the bit of a decline in purchases for Dragon Ball figures lately, but only time will tell on this one. We'll have to see. This was also another interesting piece of information that I wanted to include in here. They talked about, or they, I guess being this individual, asked Baggy if they're going to be in a Dokkan Battle Ichiban Kuji like we have for the 6th anniversary. And we'll find out on Monday if there's going to be an 8th anniversary Dokkan Kuji. The last one was 2 years ago. If there is a Dokkan 8th anniversary Kuji, then probably both of the figures, the anniversary LRs, of course, will be in that, according to Baggy, since obviously we don't have production images for prize figures. So that will be interesting to see. Unfortunately, that will literally be the day after this video goes up. So maybe if that does happen, then maybe I'll make a, well, actually, it's probably not a maybe. If we do get a Dokkan Battle Ichiban Kuji, I will absolutely make like a solo video on that for sure. So keep an eye out for that if that does happen. But yeah, another piece of information, I believe, where is that tweet? Hold on, I know I had a, alright, well, I know I had another, here we go, okay. I was gonna say, I knew I had another Dokkan Battle tweet here, don't be escaping me. So, this is basically all of the opportunities that we have for Dokkan figures for the 8th anniversary. We have, they're releasing in March instead of February, and we would find out in 1.5 weeks, which is unlikely because obviously the anniversary happens in February. So for Japan's sake, it would be kind of weird to have the figures come out a month later, but I mean, I guess it wouldn't be the strangest thing that Bandai has ever done. Both in the Ichiban Kuji, which we'll find out Monday. Again, if that does happen and we get a Dokkan Ichiban Kuji, I'll make a video on it, don't you worry. Or there'll be a Game Station exclusive, which we'll find out in February. Then they'll definitely be a lot harder to get, so hopefully that doesn't happen. Game Station, by the way, being one of the crane game places that you can go in Japan and win prize figures. Or D, they pull a 7th anniversary Gogeta and make it a Figuarts 0 figure, which we would then find out in February. I hope not, because, I mean, I like the Figuarts Zero Gogeta, but making both of them, that would be kind of eh. But I guess, to be fair, those are more figures that, like, people who would buy those type of figures are going to be the one to buy them anyway, so maybe they relegate them to there because they know they won't do as well for the general audience. But we'll see. We have some hope. It's not clear what's going to happen. And if we don't get figures this year, I'm going to be very sad because honestly, for me personally, that's a part of the anniversary experience. I'm a very well-rounded Dragon Ball fan in terms of everything around Dokkan, right? I love the figures, I love the characters, all that good stuff, right? Yeah, boy, really, really, really is hoping that we get some actual prize figures of these. But we'll find out what Dokkan's fate will be soon. This was also a little bit of an interesting follow-up tweet, talking about the March Superhero BOS figure, which, by the way, this is what I was talking about, right? We saw the Piccolo and the Goku Vegeta, but obviously we did not see what the BOS figure is going to be, and that was talked about on the calendar that I think we looked at that. It's got to been a couple of videos by now. Just had Goku Vegeta in February and Super Saiyan Gohan in December, so I think that should rule them out. Very unlikely to be base Gohan or Broly either, so I think that will leave a 50-50 chance of it being Ultimate or Beast. Ultimate Gohan or Gohan Beast, of course. We'll find out in less than 2 weeks. I'm hoping. I'm praying, man. Please be Gohan Beast. Please, bro. It would look so cool with the BOS hair with it all shiny, too. Oh, man. I'm really hoping. This is basically our next big hopium, essentially, for us to get a Gohan Beast figure. It would be the March BOS Gohan. And this is also a little bit of hopium for a Gohan Beast and potentially a Orange Piccolo figure. We have, coming up soon, the New York Comic-Con, which I believe has not occurred yet. Let me Google that real quick, just so I can have that information solid in the video. But this was a really interesting development that this info got dropped on us here. This image from the official accounts, right, that post about SH Figuarts and whatnot, dropped on us that we're going to be getting 3 more Superhero SH Figuarts figures, right? We're going to be getting the info supposedly over NYCC. NYCC 2022 dates. I'm Googling that for you right now. But with 3 figures, obviously, yeah, so this is from October 6th to October 9th. So if it is Gohan Beast, I will absolutely be making a video on that as well, because that will be this coming Thursday to the 9th. So we'll probably know like Thursday or Friday, maybe Saturday at the latest, when they announce this info. Obviously, this is also going to be the same event that Broly that we took a look at last time is going to be released at. But it's interesting that they include Gamma 1 and 2 here. Obviously, them being the existing SH Figuarts superhero figures that just got their pre-orders closed. We talked about that in the beginning of the video. But this should be something new, because obviously up until this point with SH Figuarts, we have Goku, we have Vegeta, both from this movie, we have Ultimate Gohan from this movie, we technically have Super Saiyan Gohan from this movie, right, with the accessories in Gamma 1, and we have the Cloak Gohan with the accessories with Gamma 2, and we have Piccolo. And those are, like, the main characters of the movie, right? Including Gamma 1 and 2 in that list of 4, right? So then it would be 6, right? So, this could, like, only be Gohan Beast and Orange Piccolo, right? Like, if this isn't Gohan Beast and Orange Piccolo, not only am I gonna cry, maul, seethe... I don't know what Bandai's doing anymore if this isn't Gohan Beast and Orange Piccolo. I have no idea. There is literally, I don't want to say there's no doubt in my mind, because honestly at this point, I've kind of lost hope that there is going to be a figure of these guys released in any stretch of it happening soon, right? But I would like to think that those are easily the most popular characters that they could make into figures. By the way, I did double check just to make sure. Yes, this did come from the official Tamashii Nation's Instagram account, is where this image originally came from. So, Yeah, I don't know. Like, and I'm kind of curious then, who would be the third? Like, are they really going to make a Cell Max? I would think not, but I mean, maybe they would make one that would be like as big as Grade Ape Vegeta. That would be kind of crazy, but I don't know if people would really buy that because, like, people like Cell Max, but they definitely don't like him as much as obviously the other characters in the movie. And he's more like a boss, honestly, just for them to fight. Like, he's a plot obstacle for them to overcome almost more so than like a actual character. I know that's kind of weird to say, but I mean, it's sort of true. And I will say, maybe this is nitpicking it a little bit, but the background of this image is orange and also purple. And Gohan does wear purple in the movie, right? And he kind of looks a little bit, the scene is sort of has some purple hues when he goes beasts. I don't know, maybe I was just reading a little bit too much into it. But, yeah, we'll see. I'm really hoping it's going to be them two. I'm honestly really curious what that third figure is going to be. The only other thing that I could think that it would be, and this would kind of stink if it was just like an alternate costume, but I mean, they could make it the Red Ribbon Army Piccolo, right? I mean, obviously they could make it like Magenta or Carmine, right? Or Dr. Hedo. You know, I suppose it could even be Fat Gotenks or Android 18 or Krillin or Bulma. I would think it wouldn't be those, right? Because they're obviously not like the main characters of the movie. I hope it's not Broly either. Like, listen, I love Broly. I really, really like Broly a lot. I love the modern version of the character. I have bought so many Broly figures because I really like him. And even though I do want an official black shirt Broly, I think it would be a waste for superheroes since there's obviously so many other characters that are underrepresented in superhero merch and forms. Beast and Orange Piccolo. So hopefully we get something interesting. Again, we'll see this coming weekend what the fate will be of this image. Man, I am really excited to see, though. Oh, you don't know how hyped I am. Listen, bro, I love prize figures a lot, but a lot of the time it does feel like SH Figuarts kind of swoops in and comes in clutch for different forms and stuff like that of different characters like this. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see. But anyway, this is the October store numbers for Solid Edgeworks Goku Black 447. The Retsuden Gohan and Trunks is 332, and the History Box Goku is 253. For comparison, Kaminari is 882, which is crazy. So as expected, Dragon Ball is still well behind the other shonen. I don't know why they didn't release Super Saiyan Gohan and Goku together. Would have made much more sense. Yeah, since the base one is coming out later. Also, I kind of figured that Goku Black would probably take the dub here because he's obviously a very fan favorite character, so it kind of makes sense that he would end up being the highest ordered one from the store. So yeah, kind of interesting to see. And stores being like the arcades that you can go into and win the figures from the box. Here's that image. How did it end up at all the way at the end? This is what I was trying to talk about before with this guy. Some more high quality images of the History Box Kid Goku. Again, I don't know. Like, this figure doesn't look too bad, but I think the profile from some angles is just so weird. Like, the fact that this is cut off behind, which I understand because it's sort of kind of supposed to be like a diorama, right? I kind of get that, but it still looks a little bit weird. And also, Goku's hair from this angle looks so strange. Like, I guess that is how Goku's hair would kind of look from that angle. Because, you know, when it's in the anime and the manga, they obviously basically always have it facing forward. So it's a three-dimensional object. It looks kind of weird, but it still feels really weird. Like, this hair spike feels a little bit too thin, in my opinion. Quite interesting, though. But overall, not too bad of a looking figure, to say the least. And I think that is everything, actually, that we have here. Yeah, Baggy has not tweeted anything out recently. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have lots of exciting stuff to look forward to. Obviously, we have the potential different points when these Dokkan figures could come up. We have the March BOS figures to look forward to. We have these prize fairs to look forward to. We have, of course, Comic-Con to look forward to, seeing what these three figures are going to end up being next weekend. And of course, if the Ichiban Kuji set that should be shown on Monday, like Baggy was talking about, is a full Dokkan one. That will also be very exciting too. Again, basically, if we get Dokkan figures or Gohan Beast, I will make a separate video on those because those are just two important topics to not talk about right away and save them for a figure news video as well. I may do a separate video talking about those super high expensive Ichiban Kuji prices, whether it be the ones that are, you know, like doing a video about the ones that are just in that Kuji and also doing one about the sort of history of increase in prices. I think I'll probably do both of them, if not that one in the future. But anyway, that's going to do it for me. Let me know what you guys are most excited for. I think out of all the things that we've seen in this video, absolutely, I think, where's my man at? Piccolo. I think Piccolo is definitely the figure that I am the most excited for out of everything we've gotten to see a concrete image of today. So definitely looking forward to seeing what else we have in the future. But thank you guys so much for watching. Again, don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed. I really, really appreciate it. And I will catch you in the next one. Gohan Beast, please. Dokkan Assets out. Peace.